Audiophile alert. Get ready to nerd the F out with this video. We're going into the nitty-gritty, extremely minute details that basically no one would care about or notice. A little later we'll get into tape to digital bouncing, and we'll be doing digital versus VHS A-Bing comparisons. So yeah, this is Mastering to VHS Tape Part 3, as promised. Only this time we're starting from scratch. If you saw the last video, didn't work out exactly how I intended. What happened was I discovered the audio cord that I was using was faulty. There was some connection issues, and that's what was causing the dropouts in the video. But we've corrected all that this time. We're going to start once again with recording a digital album onto VHS tape, and then we're going to send it from the tape back into the computer. And then once it's on the computer, we're going to do a little A-Bing of the digital file alongside the VHS file in the DAW. Strap in. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a different album this time, and what I decided, I had written the name of this album on this tape and had meant to record the album onto tape for a little while and never got around to it. So here it is. It's literally an album about VHS tapes, so it's kind of fitting, even if that's a bit on the nose. This is just a blank tape, and I had plan to record this album on it, so I'm going to do that now. We got the two Omnivisions here, and this is a VHS player too, but it doesn't work. We're going to put this blank tape into this one here. We're stopping it because we don't want to play it. Oh, they reject it. Yeah, that happens. Don't do that. Just obey. Machines must always obey their masters. No machine uprisings over here. Okay, that's not allowed anymore. It's the end of those days. The source video that we're going to be using, I put the tape in, but I haven't started it yet. This is a movie that I found called Baraka. Baraka's, you can see here, there's a lot of stuff going on in Baraka. If you read the back here, Baraka, an ancient Sufi word with forms in many languages, translates as a blessing, or as the breath or essence of life from which the evolutionary process unfolds. A transcendently poetic tour of the globe. Baraka was shot in breathtaking blah blah blah. It's a tour of the globe, shot in 24 countries on 6 continents. So and this came out in 1992. But it's kind of like, it's shots of all different nature in places all across the world, kind of like just natural wonders, as well as like different cities and different places. So I thought like the globalism of this movie might mesh with the kind of multicultural vibe that's also going on this album, because the album's got kind of a mix of a lot of different things thrown together. So that's what we're going to do. The video is going from here to here. That's this right here. We're going to unplug the audio of this though. We don't want Baraka's soundtrack. We're going to use our own soundtrack. I'm going to plug these in here. Oh, that's a very sensitive cord. TV's on. I'm just going to turn on the screen recorder. And we get the playlist here. This is the album. Almost an hour, 58 minutes, 16 songs, and I suppose we are ready right about now. I hit record on here, and then we're going to play the audio and visual tracks at the same time. Yep, that's it. So we just finished recording the album onto the first tape. So now we're going to send it from the tape back onto the computer. Yep, so here we are. We're ready for part dos, which is sending what we just taped back into the computer. So we're going to do it now. We turn these on, check if I rewounded it. Yep, it's all rewounded. And so here we have the audio interface, PreSonus audio box. The interface is going into our USB right now. Initializing audio, create a track. So we've created a audio track and we've put the input to the audio box. We're plugging the audio from the VCR into here. What we have here is a 1/4 to a RCA adapter. So we're gonna plug those in. So we're gonna play it. Or click play on the DAW. So here we are in the project. We recorded the whole tape and we did multiple tries. On this first try, we got a lot of this going on. You can hear that, that's flutter, wow and flutter going on, a lot of flutter. So like, you know, like this area is okay. Turn that up a little bit. Like this area is okay. And then you get these. It's like all these areas here with the larger waveforms pretty much flutter throughout the entire recording of the whole album. So this is pretty much not useful at all. Really, as of now, there's basically like one app on the whole market, more or less, designed to help remove wow and flutter from cassette recordings. And that app costs like thousands of dollars. There may be like one or two other possible options for fixing this sort of thing. And then I did a little more research and, you know, I found a couple things. I found this, which is Pyre Speeder 2.0, I guess is the name of it. Thing somebody made. They're calling it the first freely available wow and flutter reduction software, but it requires knowledge of Python and other stuff to run it. Not exactly plug and play. There's this too, which is Tape Restore Live for Winamp, which it's a Winamp plugin that improves the sound of cassette tapes. There's some different things you can do. You can remove tape hiss and things like that. So that's kind of cool, although I don't have Windows and I don't have Boot Camp or Partition or virtual machine or any type of way of running Windows on my Mac at this time. Yeah, I don't have Winamp or anything, although Winamp's awesome. Fully support Winamp. But there's not a whole lot of options when you get a recording that sounds like this. You know. Basically, your only option is to start over, so I did that. And one of the basically the main cause when you get all this flutter happening on the tape is it's the tape heads of the machine. The VCR that I used is very, the heads are very old. I think they're not doing too well. So I used the second machine, and that one came out well. You know, I got recordings. So I recorded it all in one track, and then I broke them up and put them into the individual tracks in the album. And then the other thing I did was I split them into left and right for stereo. So like if we pick an example like this one. So like that's the left track, right track. That was mostly out of necessity because when I recorded it, I only had one side of a tube stereo cable that was working, and then I did this on, so I doubled it. And I panned one left and one right, and then I did this, which is swap stereo channels. Which, if you listen to that, if we had this left, you hear it in the left there. Then if we put it right, and we use swap stereo channels, it comes out right. So that was just to balance that out and make the stereo recording that originally was meant to be, but I did that for every track as well. I broke up everything into the individual songs, put them in for exporting each individual song, and then I did do the lining up for instance, let me see if there's a good track to compare that just has like not so much fluctuating dynamics. Like this one maybe is a good start. So here's the MP3 and here's the tape. We're gonna put these at the same volume. So here's the MP3. And here's the tape. If we like... and I know the volume levels are clipping there, but I don't care. What we can see here is that, I mean, in my opinion, it sounds best with both. But the most striking difference right away is obviously the sound of the tape hiss. There's a lot of hiss there, and so we're able to mitigate the hiss, turn it down, as I showed you in the other previous video about dialing in the tape hiss by layering an MP3 and a tape track on top of each other. And we put the tape hiss pretty low. We put the tape hiss pretty low usually, especially because you don't want it too overpowering, depending on what you like, but it's different when you listen in headphones, and when you're listening in headphones, you'll hear a lot more of the minute details, and then the things like tape hiss will be much more noticeable and pronounced that way. So it's okay to dial it back a little bit. Yeah, that's another tip I would say, is just you can pretty much always, with any effect that you're applying, you almost unanimously need to dial it back. Like, you can dial it back a lot more than you think you can. Like, you don't need to boost everything up really high. You can boost things up really high, even to the max, and listen to them like this. Just to see where the maximum is, where the line is drawn, but then dial it back. So that's what we did. I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say about this, but we just wanted to show this part of the process. So we did that for every track, and then we made the album. We're going to release the album tomorrow, which it just came up on a little after the 1-year anniversary of the release of this album, so I'm calling it a 1-year anniversary VHS tape remaster. So yep, that's it. That's the process. I think maybe if we have time today, or if things work out, I might make a VHS tape case, custom case for the tape, and then if I do that, I might show you that. Everything's pretty much done now. Guess I didn't give a whole lot of different recording tips necessarily in this. It's mostly just documenting this process, and for anyone that's into doing this process, I think maybe the important things to keep in mind, like, service the equipment, or make sure that it's functional, especially before you do things like this. If you can, always make sure everything's functioning before you waste time. Yeah, chopping things up into individual tracks, and then layering. Yeah, with the layering, I didn't have to do what I did when I showed in the previous video with time stretching, because all the time was aligned perfectly with the MP3 tracks, and there's no like wobble or anything, and so it didn't time stretch the tape, which is great, because that makes it a lot easier. There's no need to do all that labor-intensive work. Yeah, I guess that's it. We did a little A-Bing there. Suppose we could just do a little bit more here real quick. I mean, I definitely think it sounds much better with all of those tracks layered. I don't think, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the clean version, but it does add something to it by having the tape track. But I also feel like if we only had the tape track, you're losing a lot of the clarity that you have with the MP3 on top. So kind of an personal opinion and preference, and I think there's value to doing only tape. Yeah. So that's really it. That's it this time. So thanks for watching. Peace. Yep, so we got a couple things here. We made a VHS case cover right there. So we're gonna cut this out and we're gonna stick it onto the case. And I did look up the dimensions online, and I thought I did it pretty well, although I think the dimensions are slightly off on this. Yeah, it looks like there's just a little bit of extra space. It's kind of unfortunate because this track listing, the numbers here are probably going to be end up cut off on that first part, unless I cut this more and made it differently. Suppose I could do it like that. You can see there, like I want that track listing to be numbered, because it's kind of, it will look kind of bad to have like that side, the track listing numbered, and then the first one's not. And what we're gonna do, we got a glue stick. I feel like a college kid. This is like art school. Oh yeah, that is the most awkward. That is the most awkward glue stick protrusion I've ever seen. Like it's, wait, look at that. Yeah. Anyway, don't want to spend too much time focusing on that. Yeah, this glue stick's kind of questionable how well this glue stick's gonna work. And I was wondering that, so I also brought just tape, regular tape as well, because I think this glue stick is like, and this is really, dude, this is like, it's like a candy. It's like some kind of like chewy candy or something, but it's not very sticky. It's like the least sticky. Okay. Okay. Let's shift gears. I'm gonna try it with tape instead. So I'm gonna do the whole flipping the tape around like that, inside out, whatever you call it, to tape it on the back. You know, taping it like this, probably not the ultimate preferred method. Maybe just a lot more streamlined to do it with glue if you can. All right, Zach, hurry up. Quicker, faster. One in the middle. When you're taping around edges of things like that, like put tape in the middle too, like that. Just do it. So we're gonna go like this, like lining up the edges there as well as we can. So when I did that, these numbers are kind of folding over onto the spine quite a bit. I'm gonna cut along the spine here and folding these over right here. That improved it a bit. We're gonna tape this too. Yay, arts and crafts. We've cut the skinnier piece of tape just to put along the spine here. And no, we didn't cut it very straightly either, but I literally don't care now. Cool. Now we're going to just trim, we'll just trim the edges here. Yes, it's fun to make things. Make things. It's fun. Do it. Don't sit around not making things when you could be making things. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing and it was made. That's it. Yep, criticisms. That spine didn't line up perfectly because we the measurements that we were given were slightly inaccurate. But there it is. That's the cover. I'm going to turn the more light in here so you can look at it more. The cover. It's a little bit obscure as to what that picture looks like in the frame here. But that's the cover. Spine. It's the tape on the cover of the tape. And then we get the track list on the back there. A couple other things, you know, you can add timestamps to the track list. You add like the length of time of each song. It's pretty common practice on like cassette tapes and stuff. They'll do that. I didn't do a full shell. Like I didn't do the top and bottom here because it was just easier to print out all on one page as one piece. It wouldn't fit all of that onto one page. But there are ways to print out in larger than 11 by 8.5. You can get a larger than the regular size of paper, and then you can print out foldable templates. There's the tape. Put the tape in there. We made it. We made a thing. There you go. Cool.